Nothing ever goes well with podcasts.
So this is normal.
Yeah, dude, I've recorded 58 episodes at this point, and you're my 58th. And there has not been one episode that was like just flawless victory, right? Like something always happens, which is really good, man, because it like conditions you to like keep your anxiety levels down. It's like, okay, just
Yeah.
work through it, work the problem, you know? And so, anyways, so that's where we're at. But I
So
will tell you, I
did it
probably
record
have that whole
everything?
file of Lily talking, right? So
Okay.
I may snippet that in, right? Like, yeah, yeah, like in Dummy Dean, like didn't charge his computer, and so here's some bonus footage, right? Yeah. So I think we're at the stage of we're guiding you back into telling your story, which
Yes.
was at the first squadron as an AZ, and then so like how long did it take you until you decided to cross rate to LN?
10 years.
10
Um,
years.
like 8, 9, but by the time I actually graduated school, it was 10 years. And so because
Mm-hmm.
the instruction explicitly states how long you can be in before you can convert. And
Mm,
so I was like right at the cusp of converting. And so
yeah.
2009, I started my conversion package. And at that time, you had to have English 1 and 2. And God is so good that I was taking, because I wanted to be a dentist at the time. Look, the idea had popped in my head, and so I was going to do it. So I started taking classes, and all I had was English 1 and 2 because I failed
Right.
basic math. You know, the one that you don't even get a point for. I failed it. I got a D in it. And so, but there was an FC2 in my squadron that was trying to convert to legalman, and her ECM did not release her. And so she was like, Erica, you should do this. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then my senior chief at the time had, you know, said, yes, do it. So all I had to do was the NKO courses. And so I put in my package, and we had a board, or my, like a structured interview. So I had a board. We had to write a statement, and the chiefs in the whole Southeast region, I went to NES Jacks for my board. And interestingly, one of the chiefs that sat my board is now the brand new OJAG CMC. So it's such a small world.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I can't believe she sat my board. Sometimes you don't remember the people. And out of all the chiefs, she is one of them. And obviously the chief that helped me, he's retired now, but he's one of them. And so it's been really great. Went to NJS up in Newport, Rhode Island. NJS is Naval Justice School, for A school. And at that time, they were changing the instruction to where, the JAG Corps pays for your associate's degree. And it was brand new as of 2010 that they started doing that. And so for my class in October of 2010, half of the class, when you graduated A school, you went to the fleet, and the other half of the class, they stayed in Rhode Island, and they completed portions of their associate's degree.
Right.
Um, I went to the fleet, and I went to a ship, the first time being on board a ship, 10 years in the Navy, and it was different. So, should I pause here?
No, man. I mean, Erica, you do whatever you want. This is your episode. You can tell me
Okay. All right.
18 million different things, and we'll collate them in some fashion at some point. I mean, it's your episode, man, right? But I am curious what ship you went to.
USS Enterprise, baby.
Enterprise. Oh shit. Okay. And where was she at the time?
We were in Norfolk, Virginia.
Okay. 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 So, did Enterprise you do a 3-year tour there?
I did. I did the last 2 deployments on board.
Okay. Right. And then, so, I'm curious, like, how'd you find yourself in Hawaii?
Um, I was in my second look for orders, and I took a picture. So I don't know if you know this about me, but when I got divorced, I had not soul, excuse me, like home timeshare is what they call it in Florida. So it was like
Mhm.
home timeshare, the majority at my house.
Right.
And so when I got orders, I talked to Lily's father, and the year we got divorced, I got pregnant with Gabriel, and he got remarried to another woman. In
Mhm.
2010, when I was leaving to justice school, I didn't want my kids to be split up. And so I talked to him and I said, you know, hey, would you take Gabriel to be with Lily so that they don't have to be split up? And he did not. Um, yeah, drama. But he did not. So Gabriel went to my parents' house and
Mhm.
Lillian went to her dad's house. And I went to the ship, and that was really, really tough. He not having my kids and now going through another custody battle from being out to sea. Him now fighting for custody because, you know, he had been with her for 6 months, and, you know, he was like, oh, I'm going to fight for custody now and have her solely be with me. So my whole adulthood life, I've been going through court with Lillian. She turned 18 a couple years ago. And so I didn't have to fight for that anymore. But that was really tough. And so I took pictures of what was available. I don't know, was it called Jazz back then to pick orders? It
Yeah.
wasn't my Navy assignment, but
I don't think it was even CMS ID. I think it was still. It might have been CMS ID at that point. Who
maybe it was
fucking
CMS
knows?
ID. But
Who
I took a
fucking
picture
knows?
of but I took a picture of what was available, and she wanted Hawaii, and I was like, I really don't want to be that far away from you. But there still wasn't anything on the East Coast. And so I talked to the detailer, and he was like, you're going to Honolulu. And I was like, but I thought I said Oahu. And he's like, same thing. And I was so sad and devastated. My daughter
Yeah.
was so happy. Which in hindsight, I look back at it and I'm so happy that I was able to give my daughter experiences in life. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that she got to be able to be with her father and be close and have, you know, go to the aunt's house, the uncle's house, the grandparents' house, the cousin's house, and do things like that. Because Gabriel, being with me in Hawaii, he wasn't around cousins and aunts and uncles and things like that.
Yeah.
What he had, though, was the Chief's mess, and he had uncles and aunts in the Chief's mess, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I got to give my daughter experiences in life that a lot of kids um, in her small hometown didn't have. So when she
Yeah.
come back and show them pictures of being in Hawaii, they're like, "That's not Hawaii. You didn't go there."
Shut up,
So that was
bitch.
pretty.
Yeah, I did.
She says, she's like, people probably think I'm lying, mom, because I tell them you're in the Navy, and then I'm like, oh yeah, my mom's a bodybuilder. Oh yeah, my mom, no, she doesn't live in Hawaii anymore. She lives in Japan. She's like, they probably think that I'm full of crap. I was like, who
Yeah.
cares what they think?
Yeah. Whatever, dude. Yeah, man. I think that that's probably the one thing. Like, if I look at like what I regret about this career, you know, there's not much. There's not much that I regret. One is time away. I mean, for me, I've been at sea until recently, like most of my career, you know, and so you it's not, but that I don't really regret it so much as like that was just part of the gig, you know what I mean? But the one thing I think that I do regret is like you were talking about this ability to have your kids be around like family, like cousins, aunts, uncles, you know, because and it's not just the Navy. I think that just like our culture has gone this way where like we move away. Like we move away from hometown. And when you
Yep.
do that, man, like you deprive your kids of an opportunity to kind of like have that connection with people that, you know, are their relatives. And you know, there's some benefit to that. Like my kids can walk into any room and feel comfortable, right? They're like, they're good. You know, they don't need to be around people they're familiar with. And so like
Mhm.
they get that benefit of being military kids, but like when they go back home and they're around their cousins and everything, I get to see how happy they are. Because you know how it is, man. Like when you share blood with somebody, you share DNA with somebody, like you're like, oh, hey, you kind of look like me. Like, and we kind of think the same. Like, yeah, no shit, because you're family, right? And
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just one of those things I think about a lot, and like as you know, my time kind of winds down. That's one of the things I'm really looking forward to is like, even though they're older now, just having them around, you know, family, you know, and of course they're like, you know, same thing. They're kind of like your daughter, right? Like, wait, where are you from? Japan. Shut up. Like, no, seriously. Like, there's my mom. She's obviously Japanese, you know. Um, But yeah, man, that's that. I mean, that's awesome, dude. So she's 18 now. Is she living with you full time now?
Yeah, she's 19.
Okay.
But so in all the years I didn't have her, my like thing that would help me sleep at night is thinking, well, when I get back to the States, Lily's going to live with me. When I get back to the States, she's finally going to live with me. My heart will be at peace. And then I moved back here in 2021, and she was like, I'm not going to live with you. And I was like, what? And she was like, no, I'm going to go to college. And I was just so hurt. And it was like reality check, like, what junior adult, grown adult wants to live with their parents? I mean, I do, so I don't have to pay rent, but or mortgage, I should say. But someone just starting out who wants to do it,
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
But around Christmas time, she decided that she didn't like nursing school and she
Mm.
wanted a change in life, and so she moved here at Christmas, and it's been really great having
Yeah.
her and like reconnecting with her. She's my best friend. Like,
Yeah.
we've always been close, but we're even closer now that she's here.
Yeah. Y'all just having fun
It's
together, just
Yes,
reconnecting.
I love
That's
it.
amazing. Yeah. Yeah. My oldest is 19. So they're probably about the same age, and
Mm-hmm.
she'll be 20 this year, and she's back in Texas, man. Like, she graduated, same thing, and I told her, like, I was like, dude, you can stay here as long as you want to. I'm not kicking you out at 18. Baby girl, you can stay here as long as you want to. And we used to joke that like she was gonna like set up shop in like the shed in the backyard, and like, she'd be like 35, 40 years old just living there. Um, but we were joking, obviously. But now she's back in Texas living with my mom. And that was her idea, man. She's like, what if I go live with Nana? I was like, well, that's available, and she did one semester of community college. She's like, yeah, I don't think that's for me. And so she's going to go to beauty school, right? Which that's always been her thing. And she's a
Oh,
beautiful
I love
girl.
that.
She loves doing makeup and hair, and but just seeing her like grow into her own person over there. She's driving around. She went to an Astros game the other night. She's got friends. She sent me a picture of her drinking like margaritas. Like, girl, you ain't 21. What are you doing? you know, it's just been a lot of fun, man. Like once they get to that
Yeah,
age,
I know, right?
yeah. But that's awesome, man. So,
So, I have a question.
yeah, I got an answer.
Okay, so when Gabe, we went to Hawaii when Gabe was in kindergarten, and then we went to Japan right after that. So coming over here, he's now going into eighth grade.
Mhm.
Pretty much a big part of the developmental phase and his, who he is was overseas. Um, so when we got back to mainland or CONUS, he had a hard time. He's like, whoa, look at all these trucks. Whoa, look at all this land. How do you know how to get places? Hawaii is such a small island. You don't really use GPS once you like live there. I always use GPS in Japan, but once you find your way, you know where you're going. He didn't know personal space, like just little things, daylight savings time. He was like, what the heck is that? Because they
Yeah.
don't have it in Hawaii and they don't have it in Japan, like little tiny little things that like most people would just kind of brush off as like a small thing was like a huge thing to him. Do your kids, when you guys go back to America, do you see small little things that us, growing up in the States that we found normal, but they find different or odd?
That's a great question. I think that I'm gonna be 100 about it. Like I don't go back as much as I should. So let's just be like totally upfront with that. Like I'm going back more now for a variety of reasons. I'm at SRF now, and so like I have a reason to go back for work, which helps
Mm-hmm.
from a cost perspective. And also, my daughter's there, right? So like, yeah, I love my mom. I love my family back there, but my baby girl's there. So like, I'm gonna find a way to get back to the States, go visit. And so number one, we don't go very often, as much as we should. But I'll say this: that when I brought Millie back, I almost got her, um, a small concealed carry, right? Um, but we opted for pepper spray, and I taught her how to use it, and she never had to use it. She never even felt threatened, right? But I think maybe I was more worried about her safety than she was or was realistic to be worried about. Number one, but then like so Hazel and Elizabeth, they spent 3 weeks in Texas, so they went to San Antonio, family reunion. They went without us, right? Flew without us. 16 and 14, and um, Like they
I
didn't
think
want
I
to come
saw
back.
a post on that.
Yeah, they didn't want to come back, man. Like Hazel was sitting, like they were sitting at the gate in Houston, and we're FaceTiming. She was like, so just hypothetically speaking, what would happen if we were to miss our flight? I was like, dude, you were at the gate. You're literally at the gate. You can't miss your flight right now. You know, like don't miss your fucking flight, right? Um, and so I guess all of that is to say, you know, kind of to answer your question, that you know, I think there's some things that they see if we're in the city. So like homeless, they're like, oh man, that kind of sucks. You know,
Hmm.
like we were in Austin and some homeless dude started beating on the door at Starbucks and it was like a whole thing. But like
Yeah.
you see shit like that in the city, you know? And like when you're on the Riverwalk in San Antonio or almost anywhere in America now, it smells like weed. Like everywhere.
Yep.
Like everywhere smells like weed now.
Yeah.
And so like I think that's a little off putting to them. Like I know what that smell is. Like, yeah, dude, me too. And you know, so I think there's little things like that, and you know, only time will tell. But like Millie, man, like it's been really amazing. I sent her, so she and I went back in November of last year. I stayed for 2 weeks, got her set up, got her driver's license. You know, we had a car in storage from Hawaii, the blue car that we had in Hawaii. Pulled it out of
Hmm.
storage, just like basically a brand new car, and got her set up with a job at the country club by my mom's house, so she's making good money, waiting tables, right? And dude, just to see how she kind of just she made friends, she's established this little life for herself. She's got she's got a boyfriend, right? And I don't know, man. Like, so yeah, are there little things? Sure. And I don't think my kids are special in any sense, but they sure are fucking resilient, man. And they're pretty girls, and I don't know, man. I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed because like they just kind of take shit in stride. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I don't know, man. Here I am. I'm having like a dad moment now, man. You know what I mean? Like, but no, I understand it though. I mean, I probably get more freaked out by the states than they do.
I did with the whole like sex trafficking thing when I first got here. I was like, what? I have to worry about that?
Yep.
I just more things. Japan was so safe, and I felt like Hawaii was safe. And here in Florida, it's somewhat safe. I mean, it's not horrible. I've never had any issues here in my neighborhood or at Gabe's school or
Yeah.
but yeah, just wondering kind of because when we first got here, I was like, who are you? Like, you're such a weirdo to my son because I'm like, no, it's
Yeah.
daylight savings time. Give somebody personal space. Don't stand right next to them. And people just like look at him like he was a weirdo. And so I was wondering, kind of like how it is for your kids. But you made a very valid point with the concealed carry license thing and the pepper spray and being safe as well. My daughter got that pepper spray when she was 16 and first got her, driver's license in a car because it's something. I was like, that's a little much. But I'd been Oconus for so long that I
Right.
was so out of touch with what was going on in the States.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I'm excited to get back there. I've kind of told anybody that'll listen at this point. Like, my exit plan is like 2027, and I love Japan. There'll never be a time where I will not spend time here. We'll keep a residence here that mommy and I can spend time in. But like I'm just ready to get back, man, and like drive my truck and like I don't care about this. I'll go to the city when I need to, but like where my family is like I don't have to worry about a bunch of bullshit, man. Like it's safe, and if people get out of line, then like you don't have to call the police. So you just kind of handle shit.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of excited for that, man. I'm kind of excited. Like I love Japan. I love the structure. I love the safety. But as an American living in Japan, you just always kind of feel restricted a little bit, right? Like you just feel in a box. And then if you grew up in the States, then you get back to the States, it's like, whew, like I can breathe again, kind of thing.
No, yeah, I can
Um,
see that. Yeah.
right. So, hey, so let me take it here. So, when did you start your fitness journey? Like, what was there a moment, or was it like a slow
Yeah.
creep, or like I want to know about that, man.
Okay. So in 2014, some of my girlfriends came over and we got drunk on wine, and we made a pact that we were going to compete in a fitness competition. Because I was like, wow, that's the epitome of like fitness. That's like health. Like the women, their muscles, their bodies, like they just look beautiful, strong, you know? And so we had made this pact to compete. And I went back to work the next day and I was telling my civilian about it. And she said, oh, I competed in competitions. And she showed me her social media pictures. And I was like, what? At the time, I was going to the gym on base and I would go to a spin class at lunch. And New Year's was coming up. Months later, New Year's was coming up,
Yeah.
and I had no idea how to compete in a fitness competition. So I was like, let me start going to spin class. So when New Year's was coming up for New Year's resolutions, the spin teacher asked, does anyone have any New Year's resolutions? And I raised my hand and I did, and I said, I do. And so she started coaching me. And I had to like pay her under the table like $80 a session. I don't even charge that as a personal trainer. It was so expensive. And Athena was like, hey, I know someone who's IFBB pro and he's going to start training me. So cancel, fire your other lady and come train with Otto. And so I started training with Otto and I actually got real workouts, and it was like real nutrition plans. And just he really dialed me in. So 2015 is when I started, January of 2015, and I competed in my first show in June. I didn't really know the true structure and discipline of a competition because I had one of my friends staying with me, and she'd come over on the weekends. She was on one of the ships out there. She'd come over on the weekends and cook for me and stuff. And she'd be like, you can have it in moderation. You can have it. I know people that have competed. You can have it in moderation. And so I'm like, oh, moderation. And so I'm, eat the food.
Yeah.
And I got to my first show and I was like, holy shit, these girls look really good. And I look like crap. Good in like a normal setting, but like
Sure.
in a bodybuilding setting, I looked like crap. And so that was when I realized like I need to be all about this. Like if I'm going to compete in a show, I'm going to spend the money on this and spend the time on doing this. It's very expensive. Then I need to put everything I have into it. And so the next show I did was February of 2016, and I was so skinny. I looked good, but I didn't have enough muscle mass because you have to go through a growing
Yeah.
stage. And
Right.
so we worked on getting all that fat off that I had from eating in moderation. And so I was like just skin and bones. And at that show, I saw this coach. Her name was Jackie, and I loved how she was with her girls, and they were a team. And so backstage, they were all working together collectively for the group, and she told them like, hey, you guys need to eat your snacks like when you start pumping up before you go on on stage for the show. Have your gummies or have your cookies or have your wine or whatever each girl's assigned thing was. And my coach was like, eat your fish, or I didn't have anything to eat at all until after the show. And so and I like the female aspect of that. Also, she checked her girls out in their suits before they went on stage and made sure they looked good to go. And this is just like Otto is really great, and we're still friends this day. But when I got on stage and I did my back pose, the way my spray tanned my
Oh no.
ass, it looked like I shit my pants. And so I'm doing my back pose and my bikini comes down, and then there's a brown spray tan around it. There is no way a girl would have let me step on stage like that. And he's like,
Right.
yeah, you look good. And so
Look
that's
good.
a
Look good.
prejudging.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my posing coach was in my hotel room scrubbing my asshole, like trying to get that off for the night show. And so after that, I was like, Otto, I gotta go with Jackie. And he's like, okay, cool. Like I understand. And so I went with Jackie, and that's where I learned a lot. And I got even more disciplined because you're working out. She would have us girls work out together. So it wasn't one-on-one training like I did with Otto. It was like three girls at a thing. You better wish you have three girls in that team because she would break your soul in the gym. If it was just one-on-one, I'd be like, you're going to train me one-on-one? I'm good. I'm good. So that's what really built the team and the morale between us on our team, was working out together, because you do a whole entire prep with everyone and tons of practicing and like posing practice, because you're on stage for 10 seconds. So she would do all of our posing practice for us. So I spent all of 2017 growing, and then I competed in 2000. No, I did a show in the fall of 2017, right before the Senior Enlisted Academy, and then and and then I did a show in 2018, right before I left the island and went to Japan. And then when I left, I decided I'm going to do figure because I was a bikini competitor. I decided I was going to do figure, but I did not start figure until 2019. I went through a slew of like trying to find other coaches
Yeah.
and all these social media influencer coaches that would send me these cookie cutter plans. Or when I say that I've been a bodybuilder for however many years, and in their email to me, it's, oh, I know you're new at bodybuilding. And I'm like, you didn't even read my message. So, in Japan, 2018, 2019, I was kind of just like learning my job, learning, learning the I guess I'm gonna say island, Japan's an island, learning kind of like getting my bearing, I guess you could say, and then just training myself and working with some flimsy coaches until I met another bodybuilder in the gym from Yokota, and he's like, come join my team, come work out with me and my coach Peter. And I was like, let me see one of your plans real quick. Let me see what he like sends you. And I was like, okay, this is legit. And he said, no, Peter's really good. We check in daily. If I don't check in, he's on my ass. Peter used to be in the Air Force and he got out, and now he's been bodybuilding for 20 plus years. And so I got on Peter's team, and I've been with him since May of 2020. And let me tell you, when I was working on my master's degree, the stuff I learned, Peter does not have a degree, but the stuff he knows from experience is shit that I learned during my master's program, shit that I'm learning in my
Wow.
PhD. So he's just so smart. One time I sent him a picture, progress picture, and he was like, "Hey, do your knees hurt?" And I said, "Yeah." How do you know that? He's like, "The way that you're standing on them and the way that you look at them when you're posing, because I have to send video and pictures in the mornings." He's like, "I can tell. So how about when you do your leg exercises?" And he gave me some recommendations for for leg day. I was like, "You're so smart. How do you know that?" Or he can tell if
Yeah.
he'd be like, "You didn't drink enough water yesterday, did you?" And he can tell that in my body. And I now am able to tell that in my clients. Or you got less than, 7 hours of sleep last night. And I'm like, God, you're good. This is when I first started training with him. I'm like, how the hell does he know that
Yeah.
I only got 4 hours or 5 hours of sleep?
Right.
And a lot of stuff that I learned, I try to prove him wrong. And so I do, when I was going through my master's program, I'm like, I'm going to do a research paper on this and prove you wrong that I don't have to get 7 hours of sleep or 8 hours of sleep. And it turns out he was right. So a lot of the stuff of me realizing how right he is was me trying to prove him wrong.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's how I got
Is he
into it.
still in Japan?
He was never in Japan. He was in China.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
the year I moved back here, his wife was not in the military, but his wife was in China working, and now they're back in New York. So we're both back in the States now.
So he's still your coach and y'all do all of it virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Hopefully we'll
man.
meet this year. I've never met him before.
Yeah.
But um, I'm I'm competing. I'm 13 weeks out now from my next show, and I'm going to do the Masters show in Anaheim, California in November. So you don't have to place in a show to do Masters. You just have to do the show, kind of like in Japan. You just have to do the show to show up. And so he has some other clients doing that show as well. So he's going to try and make it out there so he can be there for us,
Nice.
because we've never met before, and it's
That's
typically
so
you want
cool,
your
man.
coaches at your show. So
Yeah.
but if he does the Olympia, or if he goes to the Olympia, he's kind of had to pull out of a lot of his shows. He's a pro as well. He's a 212 bodybuilder, so he's really huge. But he got injured, and so he's trying to recover from an injury, but he was trying to
Hmm.
make the Olympia stage this year. But anyway, my show is in Orlando at the same location as the Olympia on October 28th, and the Olympia is like the next following day. So if he gets there a little bit early, then he can be there for my show in 13 weeks.
No kidding, man. So your next show is in Orlando,
Yep,
and what's the date on that?
it's October 28th.
Okay. And wow, dude. So October 28th. So I'm always curious about this, man. So you may have seen that I talked to like Jordan Rice. I connected you guys on
Yeah.
Instagram. It was her first show. She has a great story. She lost like 100 pounds, and then 2 years later, competing. Um, she's super cool too, by the way. Like she's fun. She's a fun chick, right? But anyways, what I'm curious about is like when, so, okay, like how do you pick a date for a show? And then given the time constraints, like kind of walk me through what that looks like. So, okay, I'm competing October 28th. I have a steady state of fitness and like diet. I would assume that you have like that.
Yep.
Okay, I don't stray out of this. Like this is my norm. But then like, you're talking October 28th, so 3 months out basically, right?
Mhm.
Like, what does these next 3 months look like for you as you prepare to like cut weight and like get into the shape that you need to be for that show? Because I've heard it's
So
fucking hard, man.
it's really hard. You reach a point of despair, where you're just like, I remember competing in Japan, and I would tell Nikki, I'm like, who even wants to look good? Like, I don't even want to do this anymore. And she's like, yes, you do. Shut up. And you have to
Yeah,
remember, no one's making me do this. I'm doing this for myself. So,
right.
but you reach a point to where you feel like you have nothing left to give because you're so hungry, you're so exhausted, and it's like, how do I push out another rep in the gym? How do I do another bicep curl? Which seems like something just like so minute, but you're just drained, and you have to keep pushing past that, which is why I love it so much, because where you think is your max, you have so much more untapped potential past that.
Right.
And I love it because you keep pushing yourself past, it's just continuing to push yourself.
Mm.
But what does it look like? So it depends for everyone. Some people only have 8-week preps. Some people have 12-week preps. Some people have 21-week preps. Mine was pretty long because I got fat last year. Life happened. As soon as I got back here, I got here in September of 21, and I had the same show I'm going to do now. I did it in October of 2021. I placed really well. I went to nationals that year. I started dating somebody in between there, and I just, I didn't push as hard as I should have, and it's
Hmm.
my fault.
Yep.
And so after that, being back, in the same state that my family's from, and having my daughter, her senior year, turning 18, all the homecoming, all these big life things, I was trying to prep for a show in 2022, but just having all of these big life things happen, it was really hard. And my parents were like, "You're in Florida, come visit us." And I'm like, "That's a 7-hour drive, but okay, I will to come visit you guys." It was a lot of stress. So I had to back out of the show. My body was not adapting very
Hmm.
well to the program. So that I gained a lot of weight from that. And I ate my feelings. So then in February of this year, 2023, I reached out to my coach and I said, "Hey, I'm ready. Let's do it." So this has been a very long prep. During the prep, we do a lot of mini cuts to see how my body's going to react when it's time for the
Mm.
big cut. And we don't
Mm.
change a lot. Like, for example, for me, this prep, meal one is, thank God I don't have egg whites anymore, and eggs. At a point, you just get grossed out. So this prep I have for meal one, I have 30 grams of protein. I have half a scoop of oatmeal and a tablespoon of peanut butter for meal one every single day. Unless he's cutting carbs out, like I just did a low carb day today and a low carb day yesterday, and it's back to normal schedule tomorrow. So I had no carbs at all, no oatmeal. And then meal two is 4 ounces of chicken and green vegetables. I like green beans, so that's what I stick with.
Mm.
Meal three is a protein shake. Meal four is 4 ounces of chicken, green vegetables, and half a cup of rice. And then the same thing for meal five, except I get 5 ounces of chicken. So I only have 5 meals a day, and that's it. Now, if he's pulling carbs, he'll pull out the rice throughout the meals, and he'll pull out um, the oatmeal in the morning. And then if he's really trying to see like what my body would do in a lean state, he'll pull out some of the chicken and give me protein shakes to drink. That when you drink a lot of protein, when you start getting really lean, it leaves somewhat of like a film on your skin. So we're still far
Mm.
enough out for it not to do that. But once I start getting into the cut phase, we have to be careful. A lot of competitors will eat fish, but my coach is like, "I'll give you the extra fat from the chicken. It's okay." Like, who wants to eat fish all the time? So I was like, "Oh, thank you." Um, so as we cut down in these next 13 weeks, it'll be more of the same diet. We don't like to veer off too far from what we're doing, because you never know how your body's going to react then. So we've been doing these mini cuts. Um, what is going to start happening is more cardio in the morning. So right now on training days, I have 45 minutes of fasted cardio in the morning. So that means I don't eat and I go and I perform cardio at a moderate intensity level. And then I work out in the evenings. And then after I work out, I do HIT. So like 5 rounds of HIT, and my HIT has to last 60 seconds with 60-second rest. And then on my rest days, today's a rest day, I have an hour of fasted cardio in the morning. And then I also have 5 rounds of HIT. Um,
Mm.
and that will intensify. It'll get up to 12 rounds. If my body's not reacting or responsive, I should say, it could go up to 16 rounds. That's happened before. And when I first started with my coach, he would have me doing battle ropes. Could you imagine doing battle ropes for 60 seconds straight, doing
Yeah.
burpees? So it was burpees and battle ropes. That was all he gave me. And then I was like, screw this. I'm going to use my degrees to my advantage and do research
Yeah.
on like what high intensity interval workouts work the best. So that's
Right.
what I did. And I started finding other workouts. And then what I did was I just started doing the row machine. God bless you. So I
Thank you.
started doing the row machine, and that ended up being my HIT, which is a
Okay.
great full body workout. So that's kind of what it's going to look like for the next 13 weeks. He just updated me again today, and he's added, it was 3 rounds of HIT after I work out. Now it's 5 rounds of HIT. So 10 minutes of HIT. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And so, you know, obviously it's about how you look and about your form and your definition. And like, those are the important things, I would imagine. But like, how much weight do you see yourself lose, like in your cut phase? Like mini cut, 5, 10 pounds, and then big cut, like 15, or like, am I off with that?
It's different every prep. When I was a bikini competitor, a lot. As a figure competitor, he likes to keep me. If I started out at 178
Mm-hmm.
in February, and now this morning I was 159. If I drop
Okay.
past 158, he starts getting a little antsy. Um,
Mm.
but my show weight will probably be maybe 145.
Okay.
Because you got to be careful when you start losing, because I'm still trying to bulk, and you have to be careful because as you lose fat, you're going to lose a little bit of that muscle too. And we
Mm.
can't tell our body where to lose the fat from and all of that. So
Right.
we're very careful. So I do a lot of like walking and not
Yeah.
running,
Yep.
just to keep your muscle mass, and a lot of stairs or walking at an incline. But it's probably only going to be maybe 10 more pounds when I go on stage.
Right. And so for us novices out here, like, what's the difference between figure and bikini?
The suits, the body structure, and like your physique and how you look, and the posing. So,
Okay.
for example, bikini competitors have 2-piece suits, and figure competitors have 1-piece suits. But when you look at a figure competitor, it looks like a 2-piece bikini. We
Oh,
have connectors in the back that crisscross on our back,
sure.
and that's a
Sure.
figure suit. That makes it a 1-piece suit, is the connectors on the back.
Okay.
Um, and then bikini is all about having like big glutes and nice round shoulders, like capped shoulders. Um, you want to have a V taper, very, very trim waist,
Mm-hmm.
um, and very small legs. And because my legs got big, they didn't have wellness at the time. They didn't have a wellness category until 2020. So I was like, well, let me go to figure. Um, can you come get this dog, please? Um, so wellness is more of like if you think about a Brazilian um, athlete, they're going to
Mm.
have really thick quads and really thick glutes. That would be a wellness category. Very small waist, and they look like a bikini competitor on top, but on the bottom they look like a horse, like just big round glutes and just big juicy legs. And then figure is more striation, so like more
Okay.
striated.
Yeah.
You're going to see the definition in the legs.
Yeah.
Still a small waist, but it's more of a boxier waist, but still a small waist and a V taper. And then big shoulders, and you have to have a really big back.
Mm.
I think that's how I won my last couple shows, is just my back. Until you look down at my glutes. with figure, you need to have like, they call them 3D glutes. Like you want to have like just they just sit right. With
Yeah.
bikini, they want to see like this like diamond shaped glute. And they call it
Mm.
like a glute ham tie-in, but there's no such muscle called that. It's just where the muscle insertion is, and for the hamstring, where the glutes and hamstrings kind of like tie in.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's the
Okay.
difference. And then the posing, yeah.
Yeah. So, and is that like your category? Are you your figure now, right?
I'm figure now, yeah.
Yeah. So you got the show in Orlando in October, and then you said you have one in Anaheim that you're planning on next year in February or something like. Did you say?
This year, November. Um,
Oh wow, you're going back to back.
yeah. So I actually thought about they have the Arnold or the Amateur Olympia on October 31st. And I was like, well, if I do well on the 28th, maybe I could do the amateur Arnold and win my pro card there. But I'll see. I'll see. I mean, I'll already be there. So I'll ask my coach, as we start coming down and he sees my body, if he thinks that's a good enough show for me to do. Typically, when
Sure.
planning shows, you want to plan a big show. You want to see who you're up against to see. You don't want to plan it. You don't want to plan to go to a small show where you're one of one, you're going to win. Like that doesn't show you
Right.
how you compare to other people. So you want to set out on shows and doing bigger ones. Um, and like the structure of finding a show is the judges that are going to be at this show in Orlando that I do, I should probably try to do other shows that those same judges are going to see me at. Because if you go to different shows just all over the place with all the different judges, they're looking for different things. So the judge in Anaheim, if I was doing it right, I would have picked a regional show in California so that whenever I did my master's show there, then they would have already seen me and I'm not just some new random name. Um, but that's kind of like how you pick a show um, in the bodybuilding world, in the
Sure.
amateur world anyway.
Right.
In the pro world, I don't know because I'm not a pro yet.
Yeah. So is that your aspiration though? Do you want to move into the pro realm?
When I retire, that's what I see myself doing. And I know I'm old. Uh,
Bitch,
a lot
please.
of competitors,
You know,
they're like
you
retired
know,
bodybuilders by the time. I know, but there's a lot of bodybuilders by the time they're 40, they're like, oh, I'm not doing that after 40. I did that my whole youthful years. For me, I this is what I want to do when I retire. I want to be free. I want to work out. I want to help other people live healthier lives, and that's just spread that. Um, and I find it like really motivating. Like I said earlier, like just seeing my body change and continuing to push myself, and that's what I want to do. One day I want to be on the Olympia stage. So
absolutely. You'll get there. You'll get there, dude. I mean, you've done everything that you said you were going to do up to this point. So what would prevent you from doing that? You'll get there, right? I mean,
I believe it.
it's not like you're 5 years ago saying that, not having done anything up to this point. Like you've got a proven track record of doing what the fuck it is that you said you're going
Mm-hmm.
to do. So if you say that you want to be on the Olympia stage, just say I will be on the Olympia stage someday because you will be, right? Like I have no doubt. There's no fucking doubt, dude. So, um, as a pro, what is that? So I guess how does this work? So like if you're a pro, does that does that equal like potential sponsorships, endorsements, obviously credibility in your own personal training business
Mm-hmm.
as a pro, but kind of like besides like the satisfaction of having accomplished that goal, like what does that kind of equal from a I guess a benefit to you perspective?
So for me, the biggest benefit is just like reaching a goal that I've always wanted to reach.
Mm,
Everything else is a bonus, but as a pro, of course, people want if you're placing first and second and third place at shows, people want you wearing their bikinis. People want you wearing their heels, their jewelry, things like that, because they want to say that they're associated with you. So, of course, they're going to want to sponsor you or make you an ambassador of their brand or product or whatever. My bikini coach in Hawaii, the one that was really insane with workouts, she was a pro and she had someone sponsoring her suits and someone that would sponsor her flights and her hotels when she would fly off Hawaii and go mainland and compete. And the way it would work is with her sponsorships specifically is for the bikini, she would borrow it, wear it, whatever, and send it back. She didn't get to keep it forever. But with the hotels, if she placed first or second, then they would reimburse her for her hotel fees and her airline fees. So that's kind of how it works. And if you don't fulfill your end of the bargain by placing top three, then it comes out of your own pocket. And then you have the opportunity at certain shows that you compete in, depending on the prize money. And typically, when you're looking for a show, you're going to pick the larger shows, but a lot of those larger shows pay out more money to the competitors, and so that pushes you even more. If it's about the money, it's not usually when you're competing. It's not really about the money because it costs more money than what you're winning. It costs more money to compete and buy the supplements and the food and the clothes and all that's your suit that you're going to wear. It costs more than what you're going to $2,000 that you win first or second place. So, but yeah, and then if you as a pro, depending on how you place at your pro qualifier shows, it gets you earn, I don't want to say it gets you, but you earn a spot to compete on the Olympia stage. And then of course the pedigree of being an Olympian athlete, and you win prize money at the Olympia if you place in the top 4, 5 placings at the Olympia. So all of that, those are just bonuses.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think just to be able to step on stage with some of those, that's what I felt at the nationals when I went, because Japanese nationals and American nationals are completely different. And I was like, I'm here with these women. Like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, someone thinks I deserve to be here with these women. Because at that show in 2021, when I placed first in my age category, and then second in the open all with all ages, I was like, which qualified me to go to nationals. I was like, somebody thinks that I deserve to be here. What the hell? Like, that means, like, don't be discouraged, Erica. Like, they look hella good, but so do you, or else you wouldn't be here. So that was really cool to be able to step on stage with those other ladies back then. And I want to do it again. So,
Yeah. So I love talking to you about this, man, because you're so passionate about it. You can tell that this is this is where you find your joy, right? And it's because it's all of the aspects of everything you love, right? Like, taking care of yourself. There's the competition portion of it. There's like the, getting to know people and like kind of like the networking portion. And I can just tell, like, when you just spent whatever 20 minutes telling me all about this, and like you can just tell that you have joy in this, and like your eyes light up and you're like, you're explaining all the details, and like, oh man, like, so. And like when we were in Hawaii, I think that it was pretty new, and I think you didn't feel comfortable really because, again, people were talking shit, and I mean, you know how it is, right? And just to see you like have kind of forged this path and like really set a really good example for not just females, but just anybody in the Navy, right? That has a talent or a passion. Like, it's been really fun to watch, man. Like your kind of evolution from I'm going to compete in a show to I'm going to be on the fucking Olympia stage someday, right? Like, it's pretty fucking dope, man. Like, from my perspective, and I don't know, man. Like, super proud of you, right?
when I first started, my preacher dad was like, "You don't need to be on stage in front of a bunch of strangers naked." And I was like, "I'm not naked, Dad. I'm in a bikini." Yes, exactly. In front of strangers, just goggling all over you. And then I become a figure competitor, and he like posted my picture on his Facebook. And he's like, "I'm so proud of my daughter." Blah blah blah. I was like, "What the heck happened?" So people change, things change, and he saw how hard I had worked at it, and it really means a lot to see other people's views of you. Like, okay, no, she's not on stage, just walking around in like a wet t-shirt contest. There's a lot of hard work, and it was him seeing the hard work that I put into it. It's like, no one gave it to me. No one gives it to these people, that you have to work super duper hard for it. So, and then it shows. If you don't, it shows on stage like it did in my first competition. So, and then you regret. You have regrets.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that, man. So I'm kind of not in any form, bodybuilding or fitness competition, but like I have in the last probably year or so really started paying attention to my physique, and I'm not there yet, but part of it is that like like nobody's going to give that to you, whether you're competing at your level or whether you just like look in the mirror and like, damn, you look pretty good, bro. You know, like you have to work for it. Like you don't
Yep.
get that for free, bro. Like it's fucking impossible. And I think that that's why it's kind of like a calling card, right? Like if you see somebody that takes care of themselves, like it's not just about their physique. Probably they would be a good business partner. Not always, but at least you know they know how to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
They probably can give you good advice. They'll probably, be a good friend because they know what discipline and like, working hard and setting goals and they know what that looks like. And so like somebody that looks good, again, it's like a calling card. It's like, hey man, like we're kind of in the same club, not just because we take care of ourselves, because like we know how to like be disciplined. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that, yeah, you have to set goals and you have to set them small. When I talk to my sailors and we do CDBs or midterms or even eval debriefings and we're talking about goals or even mentorship, we're talking about goals. I do it like I'm doing a periodized training program, and you break it up into small little clumps.
Yeah.
And like, what are your goals? And fitness goals. What are your fitness goals? What are, Mel Adams, when she used to do CDBs and midterms and things like that, she would have us do this like T chart, and it'd be like life, work, family, fitness, or you take the life out and you put finances, or you know what I mean, and you fill it in like that. But it's another way of breaking it down and setting goals like that, and that's
Hmm.
that's kind of what I think about the fitness aspect too. Is yeah, you have to set those goals, and you have to work towards it, just like you would in the military. And if you say you're going to do it, you better do it. This way, you're holding yourself accountable, though. Like at work, our sailors hold us accountable, but who's going to hold you accountable? In the fitness world, you have to hold yourself accountable. So that really does come down to the discipline of your day in, day out, what you're eating, because it's 80% diet. So what are you eating that affects your body? And then the workouts that you're doing to build your muscle. Yeah. Sorry, I started
Yeah.
noticing I was rambling and I had to stop.
No, dude, you're doing good. What are you talking about? You're doing good. Um, I followed this guy, have had him on the podcast, and actually in like one of his coaching groups. His name's Matt Vincent, and he was like a two-time Highlands Games world champion, which is where they throw like the poles and the rocks and stuff in Scotland, and like basically fucked up his knee real bad and had to have like total knee replacement. He'd probably have to have hip replacement at some point, just based on like a throwing career. And like he came to this point in his life where he was like, okay, I'm probably about halfway through, but I'm not dead yet. And so like that's been like his motto, like I'm not dead yet. I'll tell you, man, the first time I saw that, I was like, holy shit, like that really speaks to me, man. Because like, and so his whole philosophy on life is like, I'm gonna do the things that make me a better person. That, whether it's my health, whether it's my fitness, I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna study, I'm gonna adventure, I'm gonna see the world, I'm gonna experience everything I can because I'm not dead yet, but I will be,
Yeah,
right? And I don't know, man. I kind of feel like you're living that lifestyle too, right? Like just do it all. Like do it all. Like, okay, man, we're in our 40s. So what, dude? Like I'm in my 40s and I had command PT this morning. I'm looking around like, you know what? You're doing all right, Dean. You're gonna be all right, buddy. Like, because like it's cliche 40s the whatever the new 20. I don't fucking know if it's that, right? But like I feel like I could do almost anything that I could do when I was 20. Like
same.
you know, I don't like. There's nothing out there that I can't do. I can't dunk the basketball anymore, but whatever. Like I can still fucking do almost everything else. And so seeing somebody like you know, like not settling, like and as we get closer to retirement from the military as well, it's like you have this goal, this dream laid out in front of you that is going to take time to get there. And I just think it's such a good example, man. For me, even for me, right? Like, I look at maybe 4 years left in the Navy and I have some dreams and some things that I want to do. But I'm looking around. Um, I'm looking around at people that are doing things, because I want to take that example and like fold it into me because it's proof that I can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, um, speaking of, like, what's the next? What's the next thing, man? So got it, bodybuilding, but you know, um, I know you're doing some personal training stuff too. Like
Hmm.
what's the 10-year plan look like, Erica?
So I'm working on my PhD right now, in exercise science.
Of course you are.
And I'm looking at maybe being a professor. So I'm on LinkedIn and like constantly looking at jobs and applying for jobs, just remote jobs to kind of do it on the side. Um, I want to continue to learn even after I have my degrees, and I will continue to learn from students and they will continue to learn from me. And I love when I'm training clients in the gym and I'm teaching them all everything I know, but they're 30-minute sessions. I can't tell you every single thing I know in 30 minutes. And you continue to grow and learn because you have different people with different ailments, different chronic illnesses. And so as a personal trainer, if I have a client that has a certain chronic illness, I have to go do peer review research study on different, like what's the best workouts for them, what's, and just watching how much I've grown from when I first started personal training to like, oh, you have a knee issue, well, I don't know what to do, like, to now looking up peer review articles on different workouts, what what excuse me, had a burp, what physical therapists, would do for like hamstrings, or just whatever. So I want to continue to learn, and I want to continue to teach back and give back. And so I think that like being a professor or a teacher at like a high school and doing like weightlifting for the high schoolers, or a Dodea teacher, or a fun boss on the ship, and not a fun boss, a fit boss
Yeah,
on the ship.
yeah,
Um, so, like I say, like I have all these ideas like pop in my head.
I know.
I just don't know what God's calling is for me yet. But I would still get to see the world and still be a piece of, be a part and a piece of the Navy if I was a fit boss. And I could do that for a deployment or two, and see how I like it. Or be
Yeah,
a Dodea teacher and go back overseas, and be a gym teacher or something. That would just be so
yeah,
cool. So
yeah. I
teaching,
love it.
teaching, and still being in and bodybuilding. That's what's next. And my degree, I'll be done in 2025, the year that I retire, if I don't make senior chief. But 2025, I'll be done with my degree, and we'll kind of go from there and see.
Right. Yeah, I think again, man, like I'm kind of in a similar place where like I have a lot of ideas. I want to open a gym, but not like your typical gym. I want it to be a gym that's like cool, like really cool lighting, and it's like a place that I like to go. It has sauna, it has
Yep.
cold, it's got the equipment that I like to use, and you can come hang out with me at my gym if you want to, and if you don't want to, then it's still my gym, right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, I've been very open about this. I'm going to get into psychedelic therapy for veterans. I'm going to become an advocate for that. I have not experienced myself, but I've talked to enough people at this point that I think there's a huge benefit, and it's kind of like right at the beginning of you know uh, becoming an available treatment. Again, I have all these different things, right? I want to travel. I want to do digital creation and create travel videos for YouTube. But I think that overall, kind of where my head is exactly like you said, where like you don't know exactly what God has planned for you, but I'm kind of in that same place too, is that I'm just going to continue to say yes, right? Like when
Yep.
opportunities present themselves, I'm just going to continue to say yes, right? Like, okay, this might cost a little much. It might be, a suck on my time. It might make me feel uncomfortable at first, but it's an opportunity. And if I continue to say yes and I just kind of like continue walking down this path, continue to grow this network, then like it's gonna work out. I haven't been homeless yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
I figured it out to this point. So like what would make me think that I won't be able to figure it out, outside of the military? So like of course I'm gonna be able to. And I just if you try to like land on exactly what you're going to do, like number one, you're going to go crazy when it doesn't happen the way that you
Yeah,
think it's going to, and number two, like it's literally a waste of time because it's not going to happen that way. You know what I mean? And you're just
I
going to give yourself
agree.
anxiety.
5 years ago, I did not think this. I'm a completely different Erica now than I was 5 years ago. 10 years ago, I wanted to get out of the Navy. No, that was 2013. Back in 2010, when I was trying to decide, do I be a legal man or do I get out of the Navy? I used to model back then, so I was going to be a model. And my senior chief was like, "Looks fade. You should probably stay in the Navy." And I was like, "Rude." But that I was going to do that, and I also, 5 years before that, I was going to get out of the Navy when I was going through my divorce, and I was going to open up a used clothing store because I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know, I wanted to open up a consignment store. So
great
I'm a
idea.
completely different person. You are going to be a completely different person in 5 years. So when someone asks you what your 5 year plan is, I have a lot of ideas of what I'd like to see and who I'd like to be. But quite honestly, I don't know. Maybe one of these ideas, maybe all of these damn ideas I have. Maybe I'll be a fit boss as a professor, and I'm teaching people, and then you never know. So
Right.
um, you could do all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. I just think you just keep walking towards what feels right at the end of
Yep.
the day, right? Like, you have to trust your intuition. You have to trust your experience, and then you just keep walking toward what feels good, what feels right. And God, the universe, Jesus, whatever is going to take care of you if you're taking care of the people around you. Like that's kind of the way it works, right? Like it's, whatever religion or, thing that you look at, like they all ascribe to this idea of karma, right? They may not call it karma, but it's like, do right by people, treat others as you would have them treat you. I mean, and if you just continue to be a good person, you like do for others, you are of service to others without any expectation of retribution, then then the universe will like lay a path for you. That's just the way it works, man. And but
Sorry.
you just have to have faith that that's going to happen, right? So, anyways, I don't know, man. All right, Erica. It's been fun talking to you, man.
Hell yeah, Dean. It's been great catching up. We used
Yeah.
to we used to sit in a mess
Let's
and
don't
just
go so long again,
talk all the
man.
time. Yeah.
I think I may be down in Mayport. If not this year, then like next year for sure. I'm gonna go down and see Ty Giles at the Southeast Regional Maintenance Center. And if I make it down there, man, then I'll make a point to shoot over to Pensacola to see you, and then also I don't know if you remember Mark Damron. You may not remember him, man. He was one of my homeboys from back in the day. But he's in Pensacola. He just retired in Pensacola, and so I got a reason. I got a couple of reasons to come over to Pensacola
Yeah.
if I'm back in Florida, man. So
Well, let me know. We have offices. My headquarters is in Jacksonville, so let me know. I mean, I could always use an excuse to do a site visit too. So
there you go. 100%. If I'm coming that way, I will let you know, and uh, yeah, we can convene in Jack slash Mayport, and you know have a couple drinks, man. So
and I haven't seen Ty in a long time. I haven't seen him in forever. That'd be so cool.
it'd be perfect then, right? So that's right. You do know Ty, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ty's my boy, man. Like we go back to George Washington days. Circa 2009 or something like that. So yeah, but all right, girl. Well, I'm gonna leave it, with that. So, is there anything that you'd like to, parting shots? Also, where can we find you on social? Any websites that you'd like to share? Any of that stuff? Please do so.
Well, it's been great talking to you as well. No really pardon shots or whatever, but parting shots. My Instagram is I'm pretty fitness, and it's spelled all weird because I made it when I was 17. Okay, that was my AOL name, and I just stuck with it, and that is my personal training name too. And I was like, this is kind of like, how am I going to get male clients saying I'm pretty fitness? But hey, somehow I do. And then TikTok, I'm like TikTok famous. I don't know if you know this or not, but
Well, now I gotta find you.
hold on. What is my TikTok? I don't know. I was going to log in and tell you. I think it's Erica Keels or it's I'm Pretty as well.
Okay. Send it to me. Send it to me later. Cause I'm on TikTok too, man. What's up? I'm not famous though. I got like 40
Ah,
followers.
sweet.
Yeah. Um, okay. Hey, well, I appreciate it, Erica. Hey, and listen, for the audience, listen, guys, it really helps me when you share the show, when you give me like a review, hit some stars on that thing, tell a friend about it. Um, it helps me grow this message, right? Because we're getting to talk to some pretty awesome people like Erica and you know a lot of the other guests that I've had on here. And really, the theme of the Rising Sun podcast is like, don't quit. If you want to do some big shit in your life, you're just trying to like be a better you, a better person, be successful, then like the one thing you can't do is quit. So don't. Keep moving toward that goal, and it'll happen for you. So, all right, guys, that's it. Have a great day. Keep rising.